Have you ever wondered if your leadership style is foolproof? In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 specific traits that can ruin your career, your life, and your legacy. And we're talking about uncovering traits that could silently destroy everything you've worked so hard to build, derail you career-wise, hurt your relationships, and even turn your life upside down. And the worst part, you might not know that you're doing them. So whether you're managing a team, whether you're running a business, whether you're just leading in life, you want to recognize these toxic habits and bulletproof your legacy. So please stick around with me to the end of this video, because avoiding these pitfalls could actually be the difference between your long-term success and total burnout. Hi, welcome back to my channel. And if you're seeing this face for the very first time, my name is Nancy, and you'll mostly find me here discussing topics on matters leadership, professional growth, and career advancement. So if you're looking to transition, if you're looking to settle into and peacefully chart out your legacy in leadership, you're in the right place. Kindly consider subscribing and pressing the notification bell, and you will be notified every single time I release a new video. I'm always happy to have you as part of this workplace leadership community. There may have been a time when you thought that leadership was about, titles, it was about tasks, it was about checking boxes, flexing muscles here and there. And then upon taking office, you quickly came to realize that leadership is more about how you show up for others and how you show up for yourself. It's about how you are viewed from the outside. And if you are in total agreement with that perspective, when you stand in front of the mirror, there are traits that can quietly sabotage your long-term success and even hurt your legacy. Some of them seem harmless, that they go unnoticed at first, but over time, you see that they widen that gap between you and your trusted colleagues. They dilute your relationships and eventually hurt your career. So we're just going to dive into the 7 leadership traits that can cause the most damage, and most importantly, how you can spot and avoid them. You're ready? Let's get in. Trait number 1, arrogance. Trait number 1 is arrogance. Confidence is a great thing. It's very important to believe in yourself as a leader, but too much of something can be poisonous. And there's that very thin line between overconfidence and arrogance. Overconfidence can actually blind you to feedback, your greatest outlet to learning and growth. And this is also where failure can begin, because you're going to miss out on opportunities to improve on yourself. When you find yourself easily dismissing feedback and you only want to listen to others when their sentiments put you in great light, these are moments where you find yourself prioritizing your own needs. Then your ego saturates every room that you walk into. You crave admiration. You want to take all the credit and just deflect all the blame to others. This is partly a definition of a narcissistic leader. And what this behavior does is create a culture of fear and resentment. And with time, people are going to stop speaking around you, which means that your decision-making abilities are going to be compromised. So you'll find yourself making ethical breaches, and ultimately your reputation is going to start taking a downward spiral. In leadership, you're just as strong as your weakest link, or we can say you're as weak as your strongest link. So you always want to have your ears on the ground to know when the roof is leaking before the entire building becomes wet. You need members from your team who can respectfully challenge your decisions and have healthy conversations that can actually move you and the company forward without the fear of being negatively targeted. The scary part is that you may not realize that you're coming across this way. So the healthiest antidote is stay humble. Listen more. You want to keep learning from your workmates and superiors alike. So on to the next one, number 2. Trait number 2, we are going to discuss micromanagement. And I cannot talk about this enough. Micromanagement can be tricky because it often comes from a good place. You want things to be perfect, when you are the one in charge. But if you could duplicate yourself. So you find yourself on the neck of all those working under your supervision. You want to explain to them every little detail, even if it's just one last time, on how to go about the task at hand. And you're telling yourself, just in case you left out an important detail earlier, Nobody thrives under constant pressure of supervision. It just makes people feel like you don't trust them, and you will be suffocating your team members' creativity and downplaying their initiative. And this is what is going to breed resentment and distrust, and ultimately lead to high turnover and even a stifled, unproductive environment. Why? People are becoming more and more protective of their mental and emotional wellness in this day and age, and micromanaging them just makes you an active threat to this. Your team members want to feel ownership over their work and contribute meaningfully. So when you constantly look over their shoulder, when you constantly second guess every decision, you are eroding their confidence and damaging your reputation in the process as a leader who should trust their teams. Let's be real, when you're trying to control every little detail around you, you're also burning yourself out in the process. So if you want to break this habit, focus on trust. Delegate more. Leaders who cannot delegate effectively become bottlenecks. So you're going to find yourself slowing down progress and overwhelming yourself with tasks. And this is the easiest way to get stressed and lose focus on strategic priorities. You want your team members to develop their own skills and take on new challenges. And basically, that's the essence of leadership. So give people room to make mistakes. Give people room to grow. Moving on to the next one. Trait number 3 is inconsistency. Inconsistency. Imagine being part of a team where the rules change every single day. 1 minute you're told to focus on long-term goals. The next minute it's all about the short-term wins. Or here is a boss who's keen on speed of implementation. They're very big on having a sense of urgency. Only that they are the ones who are in the habit of coming late or even totally failing to show up for meetings. Or maybe you have a manager who's big on transparency and efficiency in communication, but they take forever to return your emails or even phone messages, something that should just take them a full day at best, 24 hours. And how about leaders who preach accountability until you find out that they are the do as I say and not do as I do kind of people? It can be exhausting. So as a leader, your team needs to know exactly what to expect from you and what you expect from them. And the moment you assume that office, they are watching you to deliver on your promises, your decisions, your values. All this need to stay consistent, even when the building is on fire, when things are tough, and when it feels like, you just feel that need to cut corners. You will lose their trust by constantly changing directions because they don't know what to expect from you. And unpredictability creates confusion and anxiety that actually makes team members hesitant to rely on you. If people cannot trust you, they're going to become disengaged. They're going to become less motivated. They're going to struggle to follow your guidance. Damaged credibility is one of the very hard things to rebuild. You do not want to be a leader who praises innovation 1 week and then the next week you're punishing risk takers, for example. People are going to stop taking initiative. And you also want to keep in mind that people crave stability and proper direction, without which your team members are going to waste time, they're going to waste energy trying to figure out just what is important and how to go about it, and this can hurt productivity. Trait number 4, and this is a big one for me, lack of empathy. So if you're in a leadership position, the one question that you want to keep asking yourself is, how well do I connect with my team members on a human level? Just think of the boss that you once had who disregarded your needs, your feelings, your contributions. They overlooked your perspectives, just creating a toxic and very unsupportive environment. This trait is a career killer, and even more than that, it is actually going to hurt your relationships on every level, because people talk and negative press spreads faster than positive energy. It's very easy for leaders to lose touch with their team's reality when there is lack of empathy. And then you stop seeing people as individuals with challenges and emotions. You're telling yourself whatever they may be going through in their private lives is not supposed to affect their contribution at work as far as you're concerned. Think of the bosses who are very categorical. You should leave your home affairs at home and pick them on your way back. But How do you do that when you have a situation that you cannot detach yourself from? Maybe this is just an example. Maybe you're going through a very bitter breakup and you're doing everything just to keep it together. Or you know that a downsizing in the company is imminent and you're the sole breadwinner in your family, and chances are high that you may be affected. People want to feel seen, heard, and understood. And a leader who cannot offer that is going to find it difficult to build strong relationships or even inspire their team members. This is where you want to master the art of good cop, bad cop, where you can be genuinely sympathetic and understanding with your team members without being judgmental. This is specifically to build rapport. You want to cement loyalty and actually show that you're both operating from the same camp. And then for team members whose track record works against their sense of integrity, you can adopt a more confrontational approach, to encourage transparency and also to clarify that you can see through their veil of dishonesty. And the good news here is that empathy can be built, empathy can be worked on, but you will still have to listen more to both the verbal and the non-verbal cues from your teammates and try to judge less. I'd say this was a tough one because empathy is a big deal when it comes to running organizations. Moving on to the next trait. Trait number 5. Poor communication. This is a classic leadership pitfall. You might have the best leadership ideas, but if you cannot communicate them clearly, you're just going to create confusion, and confusion kills productivity, as we've just seen earlier in this video. The worst part is poor communication is going to show up in very subtle ways, like lack of clarity in instructions and expectations. You are not providing enough context, or you decide that people should know exactly what you mean to say. You want them to know what you are thinking. For example, you give a vague instruction to your team like, we need to get this project done quickly. To them, this statement sounds incomplete. It lacks a very specific deadline. What is the success criteria, So you find your teams constantly seeking clarification from you. They feel confused as they're scrambling to guess what it is that is expected of them. And then another red flag is when you, as the leader, avoid having tough conversations about performance, about conflict, or even the difficult decisions that you have to make. So you'd rather sweep issues under the carpet. You want to sweep them under the rug. You want to stay silent and just hope that these problems resolve themselves instead of just addressing them head on. So you're going to be working with frustrated team members who silently resent you for undervaluing their efforts and not stepping up to address and protect their needs. And remember, in the same team, you probably have poor performers who are going without getting the right feedback. So they don't know that they are the one lessers, or, the dead weight, as we used to say in our crew language. And this is what is going to breed a toxic work environment, because there's a group that is feeling used and there's another group that does not know that they are the problem. Let's also not forget that the leaders who've actually perfected one-way communication, they're more talkers than listeners. So you find yourself talking at your teams rather than talking with them. You want to dominate meetings. You want to give instructions without asking for input. You want to make decisions without understanding your team's perspectives. So you tell yourself you cannot have a good night's sleep if your voice is not heard loud and strong, or OF4, as my French family would put it. And a good example is a leader announcing a major policy change without consulting your teams. These are the people who are the most affected, and this is going to result in pushback and confusion because your teams are not part of the process. Clear and effective communication is crucial for any and every leader. Those who are unable to articulate their visions clearly, give constructive feedback, listen actively, are going to struggle to gain respect and commitment from their teams, So how do you go about it? How do you fix this? Simplify your message. Ensure that you're being clear, consistent, and open to feedback. If you're getting value from this video, please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. And also just feel free to share with anybody, someone who you know may actually benefit from discovering the traits that we are discussing in this video. On to number 6. Trait number 6 is avoiding accountability. Avoiding accountability. And this is perhaps the most damaging of all the 7 traits. If you lack integrity, you're going to engage in unethical behavior. You're going to break promises. You're going to prioritize personal gain over the well-being of your team members and the organization. And it's very, very tempting to point fingers when things are going south, blaming others for mistakes, like it's not my fault that the team did not deliver, or we failed because the market conditions were not as favorable, or maybe, if only the other department had done their part, we'd not find ourselves in this mess. This trait can have far-reaching consequences for your reputation and legacy. And this is something that I talk about a lot in my videos. Maybe you're the type of leader who's perfected the art of rationalizing outcomes with excuses on the go, like insufficient resources, time constraints, just to justify any failures or delays, like we didn't have enough time to prepare, or the team did not follow all the instructions that were stipulated, or something else like we didn't have the budget to make that particular project happen. This sends a message that you as the leader are not willing to take responsibility, which is going to actually give root to a culture where excuses are acceptable and progress is automatically going to take a backseat. Avoiding accountability puts your integrity squarely on the weighing scale. And some of these traits, they don't just hurt your career, they can also seep into your personal life and cause a lot of damage in their wake, between you and your loved ones. People say the best leaders take ownership, especially when things don't go as planned. Why? Because when you are constantly playing the hide and seek game with accountability, others are going to start seeing through the cracks and your credibility is going to take a hit. People are going to stop trusting you, and without trust, you're just a walking title of a leader. So how do you fix this? Take responsibility. Stand in the gap for your team. You tell them, I should have given you clearer instructions. I will do better next time. Lead by example. Show your team members that accountability is not about blame, it's about growth. And this brings us to trait number 7, which is short-term thinking. And this one just often flies under the radar, but trust me, it is just as damaging. It's very easy to get caught up in quick wins, but real leadership is about building a legacy that is going to speak for you years after you've left that organization. So if you're constantly chasing immediate results, instant gratification, you risk losing sight of the bigger picture. Great leaders, or what I call heart leaders, think long term. They spend their time planting the right seeds, putting systems in place, investing in people for tomorrow's sake. So you'll find them working on creating an impact that is going to last long after they're gone. And what you want to do to sidestep this trap is focus on sustainability. Just ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered in this organization? Do I want to be remembered as a whistleblower, as a teacher, as a backstabber, as an elevator of people, as a liar, or even someone who was allergic to helping others? And there's so much power in writing down and saying it out loud in present tense so you can hear yourself. I am a teacher. I'm a whistleblower. I'm a people pleaser. When you hear it outwards, you can actually make the decision on how your legacy can benefit from that description. So having looked at these strategies, I have this 4-letter acronym, P.V.E.F, that you can use to highlight your career and life and keep your legacy smelling fresh for the long run. Starting with letter P, prioritize personal growth. You want to prioritize your personal growth. And this is where self-awareness is key. You want to look at yourself as a work in progress, always open to learning, discovering ways that you can improve on yourself daily. And then the V stands for values. Here you want to set clear values, then stick to them such that everybody who knows you at work knows that you are a person of high integrity. The E stands for emotional intelligence. Invest in emotional intelligence. You want to go inwards, because if you can understand and be kind with yourself at a deeper level, you will have more room to understand other people's emotions and highlight your empathy antenna. The F stands for feedback. Many people struggle with how to give and or receive feedback. So as a leader, you want to take it upon yourself to seek feedback regularly and be open about your areas of weakness. Be willing to do the work without actually getting emotional about it. So of these 7 traits, which one would you say is the most harmful in your opinion? Please let me know in the comments and let's have that discussion. Leadership is about creating more leaders and completely diluting the negative traits, none of which is cast on stone. So you can replace them with the opposite trait. So if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and press the notification bell for more workplace leadership insights just like this one. And also, take a moment to have a look at this one on how emotional intelligence actually enhances your leadership style. It goes hand in hand with this video and it's going to help reinforce this final acronym, P.V.E.F. See you on the next one. Bye.